Hi, this is Leah from Palm and Grace. Thank you so much for purchasing our travel agent spreadsheet. I am so excited for you to use this spreadsheet, and I really hope that it's an all-in-one spreadsheet for organizing clients, trips, and tasks. There are so many amazing features in the spreadsheet, and I am so excited for you to use them, and I truly do think it can help you with your travel planning. This video is going to be a comprehensive tutorial showing you all the different features of this spreadsheet. It is very straightforward to use, but there are a lot of moving parts, so in this video I'm going to break down every single part for you. And as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We are more than happy to help you. So without further ado, let's get into the tutorial. The very first tab that you are going to want to go to is the Start tab. So I already filled out a bunch of different things here for you to see, but when you first open this tab, it's going to be completely blank. One thing that I do want to draw attention to is this area up here. For the week start date, you're going to check whatever box you start your week off with. So for some people that's Sunday, and for some people that is Monday, and that will update the calendars that we have in the spreadsheet. As for these sections, you can add in as many categories as you would like to, and you can also go back and add them if you need to over time. Once you've filled out different things for the Start tab, you can then get moving on to the rest of the spreadsheet. The next tab in our lineup is the Dashboard tab. Now when you open it, it's going to look very blank, just like this. But here's an example of what it looks like when you add in more information over time. One thing that I do want to know about this tab is that it is pretty much a fully automated tab, hence why the lock is here at the bottom. This means that you don't need to enter anything into this tab. Pretty much everything is updated based on what you input into the other tabs. And we have the protections on, so in case you do accidentally try to edit something, a warning will pop up so that you don't change any formulas or any codes. If this pops up for you, which I'm sure it's bound to happen at some point, we have lots of these protections throughout the spreadsheet just to ensure that formulas aren't disrupted. Just click cancel and no issues will happen. The only part of this spreadsheet that is not automated is the search any date part over here, but I'm going to come back to this later and show you how you can use it later on. Okay, moving on, the next tab that we're going to go to is the Clients tab. Now the Clients tab and the Trips tab, which is the next tab, are two really important tabs for filling out. So here's how to fill out the Clients tab. One thing that I want to point out really quickly is that some of the titles of different columns will have an asterisk sign with them. Any column that has this little star or the asterisk means that you should fill out that column. Other columns are optional. If it has that sign, it means that filling out that column is used for automations and formulas in other parts of the spreadsheet. So for example, I'm going to show you how you can fill out one of the clients. So I'm going to use my name. And for status, you can click the drop down. Anytime you see a little triangle on the right side of a cell, that means there's a drop down, which you can just hover over and click. And for this drop down, you can click either active or inactive. And if you click active, from the drop-down, it's going to highlight that row so you can easily see which clients are active as you're scrolling in your list. After that, we have this link column. Now this column can be used for whatever you want. What we envisioned with it is that you could add a link to another spreadsheet or document where you're keeping other details for the client. But again, this is an optional column, so if you choose not to do that, that is totally fine. The next column is the onboard date. In this column, you can basically just put the date that you started working with the client or that you officially got them as a client. For this column and for any other column that requires you to add a date, you can simply double click the empty cell and select any date from the calendar. You can also type in any date using the month, date, year format. So for example, if I wanted to put November 13th, 2023, I could just type in like that. The next column is the lead or discovery column, which is also another drop-down column. This is populated based on what you inputted as the categories for this in the Start tab. So you can select from the drop-down here, and this information will be used on the Dashboard tab to help you get a better view of where your clients are coming from. The next column is the Is Repeat column, and this is just a simple yes or no, which you can change over time if they do become a repeat client, just to help you keep track of what clients you've worked with more than once. Scrolling to the right, you can now add contact information for the clients, such as the address, the phone, the email, the time zone, and communication preferences. You can also add billing information, and you can add other details such as past trips, trips that you've previously booked with them, other preferences and accommodations, and also any other notes. So this is a really great all-in-one tab to keep track of all your different clients and important information on them. Moving on to the next tab, this is the Trips tab. Now one thing I do want to point out before we start is that you will notice a couple of beige columns in this tab, also throughout the spreadsheet. Any columns that are darker compared to the surrounding columns means that they are automated. So you do not need to type anything into those columns, and if you try to, you will receive the error, which is totally fine. Just click cancel and nothing will happen. This is a tab where you keep track of all the trips that you're planning. The very first column is the client. So you can select the client that you're booking for from the dropdown. Now, if you have a ton of clients and it would be really tedious to scroll through them, you can also start by typing in their name and it should appear, and you can click it. Once you add in a client name, you're going to notice a plain symbol pop up next to it. This is a clickable symbol that will lead you back to that client's information in the Clients tab, which is super, super handy. So basically you just click it, and then you click the link, and it brings you to that client's information. So you can really easily navigate to the information you need in just a couple clicks. The next column is the Active column, so you can once again click either active or inactive, and the active rows are going to highlight so you can see which trips you are actively planning. Now this column is also automated if you happen to add a link next to that person in the Clients tab. So I'll just do something like this. It will automatically appear here so you can click onto that link. The next column is the Started Planning column, which is another column that you can add in a date for the date that you started planning that trip. In the Destinations column, you can type in any destinations that the client is going to be going to. You can write this however you want. It can be countries, it can be specific resorts, whatever you want. It's totally up to you what you put here. So I'm going to do Italy and France. The next column is the Vacation Type drop-down column, so you can type in any vacation type that you put in the Start tab. And the column after that is the Status column, which is also pulled from the Start tab. Now, these next two columns are super important, and they do have the asterisk sign to remind you that you need to fill them out. But you're going to input the start date, and you are going to input the end date. So I'm going to say the start date is the 24th, and the end date is the 29th. And then you can also add in the number of days and nights. This you can just calculate. You also don't need to add this. It's totally up to you. I'm just going to put random numbers in that I know are incorrect, but you can put in the correct numbers when you are doing this. And then you can add in information like the number of adults, all the adult names, number of children, all the children names, and then this column will create a total. So if you say you have 5 adults going and 10 children, it will calculate that there are 15 total people going. You can also add in any celebrations, any destination ideas. Now this could be whether it's a specific excursion or it's a specific landmark that they would like to see. Again, you can fill this out however you would like to. And then we also have some preferences you can fill out, such as must-haves, preferences and accommodations, and any notes. One quick hack that I really want to show you that you can use on pretty much any of these tabs in the spreadsheet is the Command F or the Control F hack. And this will help you to find things super quick. So for example, if you have a list of 100 trips planned and you want to find a particular trip really fast, do Command F or Control F on your keyboard, and this little search area is going to pop up, and then you can type in the person's name or any keyword and it will quickly bring you to it. And this is super helpful if you have a ton of information and you just want to hop down to something really quickly. The next tab is the To-Do List tab, and this is a really handy tab for just keeping track of all the tasks you have to do. You may notice that this tab is a little different in that there are some green areas on the sides, and that is because this area has a filter, so you can sort your tasks from A to Z with any of these columns. So if you want to sort by priority, or by status, or by due date, or by category, you can absolutely do that. So here's how you can add tasks. So the very first thing, you want to add in the client name. And once again, this plane is going to pop up here and lead back to the Clients tab. So for example, if one of your tasks is that you have to call your client, you can just click on over and scroll over to find their phone number super quick. You can then add in some task information. Then you can add a category. You can add in a due date by double clicking, and the number of days until that due date will automatically appear here. You can add in a status, a priority, and then a link if you need to. As you probably notice, the charts up here automatically update as you add in certain information. So I added in a little more information so you could see what it looks like when more tasks are added. Once you begin to complete tasks, you can just check them off here and they will be crossed off just like that. Another cool feature of this to-do list tab is that you can check on and off this box to add colors to the category and priority columns. If you think that the colors are a little overwhelming, you can just click this checkbox and they will disappear, and then all you have to do is click it again to add them back. And again, you are totally able to sort any of these columns. To do that, just click on these three buttons here. Now, I really recommend sorting A to Z or sorting Z to A. I don't recommend messing with this stuff down here as it can just get a little finicky. So I recommend doing A to Z or Z to A. So if I want to sort by tasks that are due the soonest, I would do A to Z, and then all it's going to do is just rearrange for you. This is a super easy tab to use, and I really hope that you find value in it. For the resorts tab, you can add in your favorite resorts or resorts that your clients have loved. That way you can easily refer back to them over time for your future clients. There's a bunch of information you can add here, including a drop-down to choose if they are all-inclusive or not. You can add in the average cost per night, star ratings. You could add in the optimal clientele, such as kids or adults, or if it's very upscale, or whatever you would like. You can also add a link to it here so you can easily click to that resort. Now we include this filter chip over here so you can filter by any location. If you click these three lines here, you can then check and uncheck locations so that you can change what you are viewing. So for example, if I wanted to view only the resorts in Orlando, then I can just click to make sure that Orlando is checked, and then only the resorts that are in Orlando will appear here. To go back, just click select all and everything will appear. If you have a lot of different locations, it may be easier to just click clear all and then go through the list and select the locations that you want to see. So again, super easy, but I think it'll be a really great addition for your agency. We also have the communication log tab, which is an easy way to track communications with clients, future clients, or really anybody. To add in a communication, double-click the cell and select the date of the communication. When you begin typing in a name, you'll see that the names from the Clients tab will automatically appear here. You can either add in a name from the Client tab, or you can add in any other name and it will just get added to the list. So for example, if I do Dylan W, then Dylan W is now added to the list, and you can also sort for Dylan over here. You can then add in how you communicated and any details there. To the side over here, you can filter by your communications. The side is fully automated, so if you do try to edit it, you'll receive an error. If this appears, just click cancel and it will disappear. You can filter by ascending or descending. You can filter by client, or you can filter by both. It's totally up to you. This is just a really great area to easily find certain communications. The next tab is the Travel Calendar tab, and this is a really great tab because you can see exactly when clients are leaving and when clients are traveling home. So by default, this tab is going to say the name of the current month, but you can search any month. So for example, if you wanted to search April, then April would appear there. It might take a minute for the years to pop up here. Once you add in the month and year, the dates for that month will automatically populate. So for the trip that I inputted in the Starts tab, I had it in December 2023. So I changed it to December 2023, and then you can see the current date highlighted here. And then if I scroll down, I can see that Susan Brown is leaving on the 24th. And as you can see, these are clickable symbols, which is really, really awesome. So you can click right back to that client's trip. And she is returning home on the 29th. And if you ever forget what the symbols mean, we have a little key for you here. So you may be wondering what this area here is for. And to show you that, I'm going to go to a spreadsheet that I have filled out a little more. So basically, once you've added in a ton of trips data, if you have a bunch of people leaving or coming home on one day, you can only see up to 4, and then you'll see a plus however many more. This area will allow you to see all of the people traveling that day. If you click this drop down here, all of the days with the month and year that you have toggled above will appear, and you can click any date. So I'm going to click the 4th because that's where I see a bunch of people traveling. And now all 5 of them will appear here, and there is a bunch of space. I don't foresee you needing all the space here, but we provide it just in case. And you can also see I used me and my brother's names here, but you can see how it might look when you have more people filled out to be traveling. And that is how to use the travel calendar. The next tab is the Places Traveled tab. This is a really amazing tab that allows you to keep track of where your clients have traveled to and all of the different places you've booked. So it may seem a little overwhelming at first, but I promise you it's not that bad. In fact, the only areas of the spreadsheet that you need to edit are these two columns right here, and it's super easy. Everything else will be automatically updated for you. So first, let's look at the states column. Here you see a map of the United States, and as you add in different states, the map will change colors to reflect that. So for example, let me add in Texas. And it might take a couple of seconds for stuff to update. Let's do California, Arizona. Basically, how this works is every time that a client travels to one of these places, you add it again to the list. So if another client goes to Texas, then you would add it to the list again. And as you add in states over time, you'll be able to see what states are the most traveled to, which ones are the least traveled to, which ones haven't even been traveled to. So it's really neat like that. So I'm going to add in a bunch more states so you can get a better idea of what this would look like. So I added in a bunch more states here. And you can see that the map totally reflects this. So you can see that Florida is the state I inputted the most. And then it kind of goes down the color scale. So California is one that I put in a lot, New York, Texas, and then states like Montana and Massachusetts and Pennsylvania I didn't put in as many times. You can also see an updated number here, so states traveled 13, and then you can see the percent of all the states, which is really great. And then over in the side here, in the top traveled section, top states traveled automatically updates, and you can see the states, the top 5, and the number of times they've been traveled to. One thing that I do really want to point out about this tab is that spelling is super important. If you input a state or a country wrong, it's not going to update on the map, and the numbers are not really going to accurately reflect how many times a place has been traveled to. So I highly recommend just being super conscious of your spelling here. And if you don't know exactly how to spell a state or a country, I would just do a really quick Google search and double check it. So going over to the countries, to add a country in, the first thing that you want to do is select from this drop down where the country is. So I can select from North America, and I can do the United States. As you can see, automatically updates. And then I could do Europe, and I could do France. And you can do this for a ton of countries around the world. I do want to note that sometimes these maps can be a little bit finicky. I was trying to do countries in Central America and it wasn't really updating. So just be conscious of that. You know, these maps are really awesome and they do give us a good picture, but they might not completely accurately represent everything. So as you can see, as I add in countries, it updates on the map. It updates the number of countries traveled and the percent of all countries. And you can see that up here as well. And then in the side, you can see specific data on different countries. So this is really great for having a more close-up view of different countries. And then we also have over here the different continents, and you can see the top countries traveled within each continent. Over here, you can see a breakdown of the continents traveled and which ones have been traveled to the most. So again, I'm going to just go ahead and add in a bunch more countries so you can have a better idea of what it looks like. So I added in a bunch more countries, and you can see how the world map has updated, as well as different numbers in the different individual continent maps. And also the areas over here, you can see how they have updated as well. And then one last feature of this map that I want to show you is you can search for any state or any country and see how many times it has been traveled. So you can do that either by selecting from the drop down, but there are a lot of different things in the drop down, so what I recommend doing is just beginning to type it in. So for example, if I want to search for Brazil, I can begin typing it in here, and the number of times it has been listed will automatically update here. And that is how to use the Places Travel tab. The next tab is the Reviews tab. It's a very simple tab, and you can just keep track of different reviews and testimonials that your clients have left. So to do that, you can add in dates, you can add in a name, you can add in the review here, the number of stars they give you, and any other notes, and you can do that. I think we gave you space for about 100 or so, but if you need more room, you can easily just right click and insert one row or however many rows you need above. The last couple tabs are all about commission tracking. So we have the commission log, we have the expenses log, and we have the commission breakdown tab. which looks a little overwhelming, but it gives you so much valuable information about your commissions. So let's start off with the commission log tab. So every time that you get a new commission, you can add it to this tab. And again, you want to make sure that you fill out the columns that have the asterisk sign. So the very first column is the booking date, which you can add in a date by double clicking and selecting from the calendar. We do give you the option to be able to add a client name so you can see how many commissions you're getting from specific clients. Then you can add a description here. You can add in a category. You can add in a booking reference. And then over here you can add in the booking amount. So say it was $10,000. Up here, the total amount that has been spent on booking things will appear just so you can see how much money your clients have spent total. The commission rate you can add here, so say it was a 5% commission, and then the total commission that you've earned will appear here, and then you'll also see area total up here as well. Now, if you have a commission that you have, such as, let's just say we have a $500 booking, but you don't have a specific commission rate, you can just leave that blank, and you can also just type over the formula here. So say maybe you got $60 as a commission, just making up numbers. You can add in numbers here just like that. So it is up to you. If you don't even want to add in the booking amount, you can even skip that and just add in commission amounts. That is totally fine. And then if you scroll a little over to the right, we have a couple hidden columns that aren't super important, but they could be helpful to you. They're the payment status, so you can track if you've been paid them or not, and you can add in any other notes over here. You also have the ability to highlight specific transactions. So for example, you can highlight by client, and you can also highlight by categories. So maybe you want to highlight Leah Marie's commissions, and I want to specifically look for the ones that are hotels. I can do it just like that. You can add up to 2 categories or just 1 if that's what you prefer. The next column is the expenses log. This tab is very similar to the commission log tab, but it does have a few less columns. So we're going to start off by adding dates, and you can add a category for your expenses, add a description, add a store or receipt. You can add in the amount, and you'll see totals here. You can add in payment types, and then you can add in any other notes here. And then just like with the other tab, you can highlight specific categories. So the commission breakdown tab is now going to show you all your commissions broken down by specific months or years. So this tab is fully automated except for the drop downs here. So in these drop downs, you can select any month. So most of the commissions I added were for December, so I'll add December, and then you can add the year. And once you add in both of these, the numbers will automatically populate. So you can see a variety of information here, from commissions by category, expenses by category, total summaries, profit margin for that month, total amount booked for that month. You can look for commissions brought in by clients. This is another area that you can actually change. And you can see a commission breakdown and an expenses breakdown. How this tab is set up is this area is the month area, except for these charts up here. We wanted to make sure they were added in, but these show for the whole year. And then this area down here is focused on the whole year. So you can see all the numbers for the whole year. You can see commissions by month, expenses, and then cash flow, and then you can see profit margins. So there's a lot of information in this tab, but there's also such good information, and I'm so excited for you to use this tab and see how it levels up your business and how many insights you can see. So finally, I want to go back to our dashboard tab, because now we've added in a lot more information, and it has definitely updated. Now you can see we have 1 trip planned, just from our trip tab. We just have 1, but I'm sure over time you'll have more. You can see a breakdown of your trips by type, how your clients have discovered you. You can see commission information up here. This is your all-time commission, so this is something that's not shown on the commission breakdown tab, so this can span over multiple years, which is really neat. You can see different stats here. You can see upcoming tasks, which you can click on the symbols and jump to those specific tasks, which is really helpful. And again, this is only going to show you tasks that have not been completed. You can see the charts from the Places Travel tab. Again, you'll get more in-depth information actually on that tab, but here you can see an overview of the states and the countries. And then down here, you can see upcoming departures. Yes, of course, these symbols are all clickable. Upcoming arrivals. It just changed the dates a little bit so you can see clients that are currently traveling. If the current date falls in between or on the start or end date of a trip, it will appear here, which is really awesome. So you can see your clients who are traveling right now, and then you can also click on the symbol to jump to it. You can also search any date and see what clients will be traveling then. So for example, maybe I want to search, let's do the 17th because I know someone is traveling then. You can search any date at all and the clients that will be traveling then will appear there. So that is it for how our travel agent spreadsheet works. I am so excited that you have purchased this and that you'll be using it. I know we covered a lot in this video, so if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to help you. We truly want you to find value in the spreadsheet. That is why we created it, and that is hopefully why you have purchased it. And that concludes our tutorial. Again, thank you so much for your purchase. If you have any questions, be sure to reach out to us and we'll be happy to help. We hope to see you around again here soon.